Hello and welcome back, everyone. Sorry I took all of last week off. It was Thanksgiving break. We had the entire week off of work and hanging out with friends and family, having multiple turkey days. It was fantastic. So feeling fully refreshed and all that stuff. We're going to get back into some gaming news. And the thing that we're going to be talking about today is some Arc Raiders. Arc Raiders is still popping off as like a fantastic game. I believe, over the weekend, it hit 420,000 concurrent players. So going pretty hard. And I believe it's probably going to beat its all-time peak of 400. It's probably going to be over 500,000 players after the Cold Snap update that's supposed to go live some point during this month. Best guess that the internet is telling me is December 11th, because that's going to coincide with 1 month since the Northline update that we got in November. So with that, the update's actually looking pretty interesting. We're going to get this new map condition called Snowfall. I would imagine there's going to be snow all over the place, except maybe not Stella Montes because it's more inside. Interior of a map in most parts. But I imagine going through the snow is going to be like, is probably going to slow us down movement wise. Curious how to see how the Arc are going to react into the snow, especially the bigger ones that are more outside. So should be interesting to see how Snowfall is going to actually adjust the maps and all that stuff. And then we're going to get something called the Flickering Flames event. We're going to see exactly what that is when it goes live. I think the internet has said a few things, but I don't know. Not 100% confirmed, but we'll find out. It's an event. I'm here for it. And then probably the more interesting and slightly controversial thing that's going to be happening over the course of this month, over the course of the Cold Snap update, is the next expedition departure window. So I know a lot of people are back and forth between doing this and not doing this, the pros and the cons of it. And I think I pulled up, it's the same menu that you guys see inside the game, seeing like what the expedition is, but it's like the things that you get to keep and the things that you lose when you do an expedition, and it's more or less a prestige system. And funny enough, like this brings me back a little bit to my Payday 2 days. Some of you guys may have played Payday 2. You would prestige and gain infamy in that game, and you would get some rewards by starting over back to zero and then grinding all the way back up. And it wasn't as bad as a grind as it was the first time you did it, because you got like XP boosts and stuff like that to get back up to max level. But the amount of stuff that you kind of sacrifice to do the expedition is kind of wild. So stash, upgrade, progress, you start from zero. Everything in your inventory is gone. All of your blueprints that the RNG gods blessed on you are all gone. Coins are gone. Your player level starts at level 1. Skill points are gone, but you gain 5 permanent skill points, I think, on top of that. So instead of a 75 cap, you have an 80 cap, which, sure. The Raider Den, all the workshop stuff, gone. Quests, you start over. And what you get to keep, all the maps that you play, so you don't have to start from Dam and then work your way up to Stella Montes, which is nice. All the workshop stations are unlocked. They're just back to level 1, I believe is how that works. All the codex entries, which that doesn't matter. Raider tokens, all your money, your real money inventory stuff for the shop and all that stuff, which is good. That would be dumb if that went away. Your Raider deck progress, obviously, like all the obvious stuff is here. Active leaderboards, trials, cosmetics, yada, yada, yada. But it really does beg the question, especially for people like me that don't get to play the game every single day, not as much as the quote-unquote no-lifers in the game, is this prestige system actually worth the quote-unquote permanent buffs, also in quotation marks, that you get to get back up to max level? Honestly, kind of looking at it, it doesn't seem that worthwhile of a thing to do. Especially considering that once you get to the final tier of the expedition, I believe, depending on how much value you put in your expedition, directly impacts the amounts of rewards you get. I don't know exactly the final stage of it. I just know that it requires a lot to be put into in order to get the maximum reward potential from it. And it's just like, I don't have all the time in the world to do that every single time that it offers it. And for a game like this, where the reset is kind of important, it almost seems like a core gameplay mechanic to have that reset. Because if the entire community doesn't reset and you just have a core amount of people that are just highly geared and have all the things available, the game is, one's going to be stale for them, and two, if they get matched up, because there is no matchmaking for what loot that you have, what gear that you have. So someone who's doing a solos free run could totally get matched up with some dude who's rocking like some of the best gear in the game and just get completely rolled. There are chances you could probably flip the script on that, especially in solos, but you're not going to have lobbies where everyone's starting from scratch like it has been for the past like month or so. Plenty of new people coming into the game who haven't played the game, myself included. Over the past couple of weeks has been pretty great because I'm going against other people that are still getting used to the game, still doing missions and all that stuff. But if you have a core group of people that aren't starting over, then it's just like, one, they're probably going to leave, and two, at some point, and two, they're more often than not, I feel like, are going to be put into lobbies where they're either going to roll or get rolled. And the getting rolled part, I think, is not going to happen nearly as often as the rolling part. And I don't know. I almost feel like the expedition bit should be a requirement for everyone at all times. Maybe increase the window length maybe twice a year or something like that. I don't know if this is, I think it said somewhere like every 60 days there's going to be the option to do an expedition. But honestly, I would say twice a year, mandatory. Everyone resets. Everyone goes back to scratch. It all just matters how much effort that you eventually have to put into the expedition to get the base level amount of rewards, or even the maximum. I don't think it matters. I think there should be a threshold every player should be aiming for when it comes to the expeditions, and then you don't have a choice. You do have to go through it so that we can all get a fresh restart from the very beginning. There's something about the restart mechanic, especially in a game like Tarkov, which I didn't play too much of, so don't quote me on it, but everyone having the chance, or the entire community basically starting from scratch with like almost like a completely new feel for the game, I think is what pushes this game into a very it enhances its longevity, I think, significantly. If you have a small subset of the players just kind of like not engaging with it, which is pretty much what I did with Payday 2, I just never saw a reason to do to Prestige. So, every time I boot up the game, I've got all my stuff and I'm just good to go to just roll through the game. Prestiging and starting over did literally nothing. To enhance the gameplay of it at all. I can imagine, having additional storage space also for your inventory, and then having additional skill points, does make your character slightly stronger over the course of time. I don't know if that's going to become an issue where you have people who have done many versus people who have done none. It's like, how do those people, meet up, I guess? How does that work a couple years down the road for completely new players who are at 75 points versus people who've done multiple expeditions who are like at 90, 100 points, if that is what is going to happen down the road? How does that power struggle not become an issue? I don't know. I feel like maybe expedition is something that's not fully flushed out and it just needs time to be flushed out, but I think there should be some amount of mandatoriness into it. That remains to be seen. I have no idea, but that's at least what I'm feeling. But aside from the updates coming out, and there's also going to be new quests, new raider deck, and all that stuff. So aside from the Cold Snap update, which again should jump the player number up significantly, I feel like at this point, there's a couple updates to the game, one internal for the game and one external from the game that I kind of want to hit up. And I've got a article from GameSpot talking about introducing a new hilarious fix for locked room exploits: burn everything. This one I actually saw a video of. I think someone was like trying it out, just attempting it, and basically what's been happening, and you guys probably know this at this point, I think it's been an issue since the game launched, but it's been like a reoccurring thing in the past couple of weeks, where you will get a locked room that you need a key card for, depending on whatever map you're on, doesn't matter. You can do a couple finicky things with some of the deployable items. Could be mines, could be the wall that you can deploy, where if you put it up against the door, you can kind of glitch yourself through the door and get into the room fully locked and loot the entire special room, wherever it may be. Naturally an exploit, naturally a glitch. You should not be able to go through a door without a key card. Obvious. Now, they have not patched the glitching in through the door. Instead, what they did, I think, is kind of genius for two reasons. One, now when you glitch through a door that is locked, there should be flamethrowers. They're going to burn you alive once you get inside. And that is a pretty interesting fix. I kind of like that. It makes sense. It's like, if you can't, feasibly patch that, the next thing you can do is just give the room a check. Is a player inside and the room is locked? Cool. Flamethrowers on. Is the room unlocked and the player's inside? Cool. No flamethrowers. Makes total sense. You know, can they glitch or can they fix the glitching in the geometry and the asset of the door? Probably down the road. But this is, I think, is what they say, a really hot fix in the patch notes. Hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. The other awesome thing about that is that once a player goes in and they do not know this update, they burn alive. And now when someone comes in through the door with a key card, they have all the loot in the room, including a dead player. So that's fantastic. I'm actually kind of curious if anyone's uploaded any videos, and be sure to let me know in the comments down below if you guys found any where they've seen multiple bodies inside a locked room of people trying to glitch inside and they just died to the flames. Like, dude, the amount of loot you could probably get from a room like that where some people try it and they just burn alive. Oh, that's got to be hilarious. It's got to be hilarious. I've yet to find a room. I've opened up a few of them. You get keycards, I would say, pretty easily in this game, ranging in rarity, but I've yet to find a dead player inside of a room, but that'd be so funny. Huge update, I would say. Pretty good. Otherwise, I'm curious what they're going to introduce into the Cold Snap update in terms of optimization and bug fixes and all that stuff, so we'll find out on that. But one thing I think is kind of fascinating is that I saw that someone put up a website called Speranza Bounties. Basically, some people are having a bit of a struggle against the other players in the game when it comes to player interactions, and I don't want to use the term griefing because I don't think it is. It is the game. When you and another player are in this open PvPvE game and you're interacting with each other, you have to be aware of you're talking to another human. You know, potentially. It could be a bot. You don't know. But I'm assuming human. They're all human. But you're interacting with another person. Are they going to betray you? And something about that other people have an issue with is that, you know, you go into a game, especially in solos, and you're just like, friendly, don't shoot. And you guys go about your way, and one of you turns around and shoots each other in the back. You know, I don't know what to say other than that. This is a PvP game, guys, and I know every update and hotfix that I've seen on Steam, people in the comments immediately after an upload from the devs, people are asking for a PvE only experience, PvE servers and all that stuff, and I'm just like, no, that's kind of it's part of the game, guys. Like, it's not a PvE game, it is PvP, and I get that some people betray you in that sense, but that's kind of the point. You know, people are really putting in their sense of morality in this game, and it's not built for that, more or less. And I got that feeling too. I'm a friendly player. I do not betray people, even when given the option to shoot someone in the back and take all their loot for them. That's just not my play style. You know, you can go through any game that has a morality system where you can be a bad guy, a good guy. I'm talking like Red Dead Redemption or something like that. I typically always go good guy because I just never like being the immoral bad guy. It's not my play style. So you bump into me in the game, I'll probably give you a piece of gear and be like, all right, dude, I'll see you later. Peace. Like, you're down on the ground and I got a defib on me. I got you. I'm going to get you up. But that doesn't have to be everyone. And that shouldn't be everyone. Like, that's not the point of the game. It's not the Raiders against the Ark. It's the Raiders against the Ark, but also against the Raiders. It is a completely open, shoot-all sort of deal. And I think we're in growing pains right now within the first couple of months of the game where people are discovering the game, they're doing quests, they're figuring everything out, and people are relatively friendly. It's only going to be probably sometime in the middle of next year, maybe. It depends on what gets added to this game or taken away or adjusted or whatever. I can imagine everyone's going to go PvP. Like, if they see another raider, it is shoot on sight. So people are going to have to traverse the maps significantly more cautiously, check their corners. You know, the nature of this game being a third-person shooter is kind of tough as opposed to being a first-person shooter. I've argued there should be a little bit of a mechanic where if your character does not have direct line of sight of distance, the game should be a little bit blurry. I forget the depth of field. Depth of field should rescind depending on whether or not your character has direct line of sight or, I guess, information gathering senses like hearing, sight, smell, all of that. I don't know how you incorporate that, but it's like if you hear a gunshot from one particular direction, maybe like directly in front of you in your FOV and you see something, but imagine a wall's in front of you and everything in front of you is just blurry. Like everything out into the wilderness is just blurry. You cannot see anything because third person is an incredibly powerful mechanic, always has been compared to first person because the amount of information you can gather. I love the phrase, corner sniffing. Like you're in a corner around it and your camera could just see around. You guys know what I'm talking about. But I can imagine there could be a mechanic in the game where you just cannot see nearly as far as you can unless you move your character so the eyeballs see line of sight down the way so that you can have clear depth of field. You guys know what I'm talking about? I think that's something they can implement in the game to make third person peeking significantly less powerful than it is. But maybe someone shoots their gun and then maybe that depth of field becomes a little bit more clear for a second. You can tell which direction it came from. I mean, obviously your headphones can tell you which direction it came from, so maybe that's just not the case. But I can imagine something like that getting added to the game because that is an incredibly powerful mechanic. But again, going back to the whole concept of this game is that it's not supposed to be a carefree stroll in a destroyed wilderness with killer robots on the loose and you're just like, yo, let's team up and do stuff. It's like, no, it's not part of the game. It's not part of the game. And then back to this website, Speranza Bounties. Basically, if you betray someone, and that's in quotation marks as well, betray someone, they've got different markers for betrayal. Basically, you go on this website called, again, SperanzaBounties.com. And people can submit bounties on players that play the game. I can't honestly say it any other way, that just play the game. If it's in the game, it is what it is. But they've got markers to give these players in this game, and then you can submit a bounty for people to basically go find them and kill them and upload a screenshot of you taking them out. Sure. And then another issue is that a lot of popular streamers are featured on this website. Like number one on this website right now is Peanut, the Burnt Peanut. He's got markers called Vault Vulture, which it defines as waits for you to open a vault, then steals the loot. And then another one called Drop Thief, steals items you've dropped for a friend. And currently he has a pending kill by someone called King of Sludge. I don't know. You've got Nadeshot, who he's got a marker called Voice Chat Snake. Pretends to be friendly on voice chat, then betrays. Extraction Execution kills teammates at extraction point and wave and execute. Friendly waves, then kills you when your guard is down. Like, I can't really say it any other way. If you guys have an issue with people playing the game in a certain way by using voice comms and whatnot to lower your guard to kill you, I'm sorry, go play something else. Like, there's nothing else to say at that point. This is part of the game. If it wasn't part of the game, voice comms would be taken out, so that limits the amount of conversation you'd be able to have with someone to fall victim to something like that. But that is this game in a nutshell. The gear and the loot that I can get does not come from the arcs and from the things. It also could come from you. And if I see you out there and you're vulnerable, I'm going to kill you. And I'm going to take your loot in the game, to clarify. But this, I feel like, is a bit of an overreach from the community to try to police player action a little bit. It's a bit much. I can understand it doesn't feel nice. I get you. But you also could come from a different angle of just like, don't trust people. And if this happens more in solos than it does in duos and trios, then basically group up. Trust no one in solos, only trust the people you queue with. It's just that simple. But I mean, that is the nature of this game. That is kind of the point of this game. It is open PvP. It is nice to bump into some people that are friendly. It's like, cool. They don't have to be friendly, just like they don't have to be a PvPer that just wants to kill you and take your loot. But that is the nature of this game. And it extends to every platform, PC, PlayStation, Xbox. So yeah, you guys can come over to this website and take a look at it. They do have a I think in FAQ, they have a leaderboard too, and they have rewards, which I think is kind of funny. But what is, so yeah, bounties, I believe, last for like a month or something like that. How do you mark a target? Sign in and tap the plus button on the bottom right. Enter the player's Embark ID. Select their platform. Choose up to 3 offenses they committed that they've deigned as offenses. And you can mark up to 3 players per day. What's the Embark ID? How does voting work? How do you confirm a kill? Find the target on the hit list and tap the kill button. Upload a screenshot as proof of the elimination. An admin will review and approve your kill claim. Okay. And then there are titles to earn. Titles are earned by confirming kills, starting as a rookie and work your way up to Executioner, which is 25 kills, or Legend, which is 50 kills. So it's just a completely separate meta game, I guess, that's outside the scope of Arc Raiders, where, I don't know, I think a handful of people are actually interacting with this. I'm not sure how many people are on this. I just thought it was kind of wild that someone brought this up. Are there any rewards from eliminating bounties? Yes. Prizes will be awarded to hunters who eliminate the weekly top 10 bounties. Stay tuned for exact rewards coming soon. So currently nothing scheduled, nothing uploaded as a reward. But yeah, I think this is a bit much, honestly. I think it's funny a little bit, but to be taken seriously and all that stuff, especially targeting big streamers who, like, apparently Hutch has already been taken out. He's already been eliminated. And Voice Chat Snake, Vault Vulture, Extract Sniper, you know, all of those, I guess, you know, very damnable offenses, to put it mildly. But I don't know. I think it's a bit much. Be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I don't know. Bit much. Part of the game, guys. Part of the game. You may not like it. You may fall victim to it. But then again, you can do a free run pretty much as much as you want, and then you are good to go. You know, you only lose so much stuff in the free run, or nothing at all, quite honestly. So I don't know. Nature of the game. We'll see what the devs have in store for us down the road in terms of more content and maybe some changes on how player interaction works. I'm not entirely sure, but currently the game is a lot of fun. Like, I'm still down for running into it every now and again, especially now that we're back at work, probably going to be doing less, but I've got 35 hours. I've logged how many over the course of last week? Enough. I've logged enough hours over the course of the last week. So fun game. I'm looking forward to this Cold Snap update. I'm looking forward to the roadmap of this month, and hopefully we get more information once this Cold Snap update goes live as to what's in store for 2026. I'm very interested to see how much this game's going to evolve. It's been pretty fun the past couple of weeks. So be sure to let me know your thoughts on Arc Raiders. You know, outside the fact that it did not get nominated for Game of the Year, I think it might have launched a little bit too late for it to fully settle in order to be nominated, but it is what it is. So anyway, that's going to be it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. We'll be back on tomorrow for another video. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a like and be sure to sub for more. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. You guys have a good rest of your Monday. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Until then, I'll see you guys later.